Lights out indeed, friends. Welcome to episode 10 of the Paws Up Podcast. Oh my God. It is the 10th episode of this show that Kevin and I had the luxury of working with Gus and Edwin of Lemon City Live to make just only a few months ago. And to see the growth on our Twitter and as well as the YouTube and Facebook, which I'm happy to see everybody watching. Of course, we appreciate it. We can't thank you guys enough for all the support. And we got a good one here, folks. And I was just talking with our guest, head coach of FIU Football, Mike MacIntyre. College football is great. I love college football because there's always a story. There's always something to talk about with college football. And we got a good one here today. How are you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great. I am doing super. Just got through the last recruiting cycle and got a lot of guys in already in school, so it's going well.
Yeah. We'll definitely catch up on the recruiting in just a sec, but let's get right into it. We have a bunch of questions for you, Mike, and again, we can't thank you enough for being here. You are now part of the upper echelon of guests that we have had on this show
Right.
in our first 10 episodes. I believe you are lucky number 7, if I'm not mistaken.
All right. Good. Super.
So, Mike, year 1 at FIU is done. It is in the books. Aside from football, what has been your favorite part about getting to reside in South Florida, a place that you know all too well?
Well, of course, I enjoy the weather a lot, and that's good. But I tell you, working there with Ken Jessel and Scott Carr and all the people, it's been really awesome.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. And just before we go any further, just tell me, what do you think about our humble university in the 305?
Well, I'm really enjoying it. FIU is extremely unique. I love the people there. I love the kids. I tell you, the faculty has been very receptive. It's been exciting. We've met made a lot of friends and gotten to know a lot of people and eating a lot of good food. I'll tell you that much. Probably eating too much of it, but it's been fun.
It's definitely a sin here in the 305, but you know what? It's just so worth it. Name your restaurant. It's going to be amazing here.
Coach, what is your favorite
Exactly
restaurant
right.
here? What's your favorite restaurant here in
There's
Miami?
too many. There's too many to name. We've eaten it. You name it, we've eaten there. It's been a lot of fun and exciting. There's too many of them to name. I don't want to put one out more than the other because they're all good.
All right. Coach, I wanted to ask you, you were at Colorado, San Jose. What aspects of your time at those universities have you implemented the most during this first year at FIU and, now during the offseason as well with the recruiting?
Well, you learn things at different universities. Everything's a little bit different. The thing that's so exciting about FIU to me is the recruiting base and the DNA and the football players here, how much they love playing ball. That's a big part of it. And then also, I think that it's a little more similar to San Jose State than Colorado because you're in a big city. And but the recruiting base is excellent here, and the coaches, the high school coaches, and everybody's been so receptive to us. It's gone really well.
Well, that's great to hear. Now, let's get into the 2022 campaign that you wrapped up last year. So, for a football program that prior to your arrival had only won a single game in 2 years, I definitely feel like a 4-8 season is already a massive step in the right direction. How big a benchmark was this season overall when looking towards the future of the Panthers?
Well, I feel like we established who we are. We've got a lot of good players that are excited about staying here and playing at FIU. I think we created a little bit of a understanding that we are going to be able to be successful here, and they've been successful in the past. I think that was important. The student body was a lot more involved this year, from what I understand, than it has been in the past. So that was exciting. Season tickets went up, and we've started a Panther Club now, which is growing. So there's a lot of positives going in the right direction, and we're excited about the future.
Yeah, Coach, I wanted to ask you, going back to the 2022 season, a lot of big names for your team that really stepped up and made a huge impact. Although those players made a huge impact, and many know them, we have Grayson Allen at the time, Chambers, Bernadelle, Rivaldo Fairweather. I want to ask you about maybe the players that the casual FIU football fan is not too aware of. Who are those guys that really impressed you and you're very excited to see next season on your football team?
Well, there's a lot of them that played well and did some excellent things. And at the end of the year, we had some younger receivers step up. Dean Patterson,
Yep.
Artez Hooker, that they started showing you they can play at this level, which was exciting to see. Defensively, Adrian Cole really started playing really well. Hezekiah Masses, another young man that's doing well. Jordan Gerard stepped up on the defensive line. John Bach. And Keith Philip Houston at tackle. So those are some young guys that played really well. They're going to play a lot of football for us this year that we're excited about. And there's plenty others, but those are some guys that I think popped up as the season went along that played at an excellent level. That are some guys that maybe people don't know of much about.
So there's a lot of positives that we can take away from this season, and we can spend a whole hour just going through them, but I would like to briefly talk about the negatives, and I'd like to mainly focus on the offense, as Kevin and I believe, and I'm sure you've seen it as well. It has been one of FIU's sort of weakest links. How would you grade what you saw with the offense, as well as the improvements that we know you've made so far this offseason?
Yeah, our offense, we sputtered at times. We had a little bit of a revolving door on the offensive line, which is an area that I feel like we're a lot deeper at already this time than we were any time last year, with young men that have gotten bigger and stronger, and then some young men that we signed and some redshirt freshmen that played a little bit at the end of the year. So that's the first key of your offense, is how good is your offensive line going to be. I feel like we definitely have improved there. And actually the last game of the year, I felt like that was the healthiest our offensive line had been all year.
Oh, yeah.
And they showed some signs of doing some good things. And, Hayden came in and did some good things in the game. So offensively, I think it all starts with up front. And I know that we're a lot better there and we're deeper. So that the competition and the size and experience will make a big difference for us in the 2023 season.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about the quarterback situation. You guys had Grayson Allen. You had
Grayson James.
Jeez, I'm sorry.
You've been watching too much pro basketball. You get that Duke, North Carolina game on your mind from the other night, which was a heck of a game, wasn't it? It was a heck of a game.
It really was, dude. Oh, my God.
That was a good game, yeah. And I want to ask you about Hayden Carlson, who you just mentioned.
Yep.
Amazing game against Middle Tennessee. What did you think about the quarterback play this season when it came to those two guys? I know we didn't see much of Hayden Carlson towards the end of the season. I mean, that final game against Middle Tennessee just showed why, originally he was named the starter.
Yeah, I think that, Hayden did some good things at the end. Grayson did some good things at different times. We had some sporadic play at different times at that spot, and that's understandable when they're young. And now that Grayson's played a lot of plays that should be extremely improved. And Hayden played really well in the game, had a couple mistakes there, but he showed his arm talent and did really well. Excited about what Hayden showed. And so we're looking forward to that. And we also signed a young man that's on campus now, Keywan Lights Out Jenkins, who think that's going to be good too. So I feel like we had Amari that's in there also in our quarterback room. So I feel like our quarterback room is a talented group, and it's always good to have those guys because different guys go down, different things happen, and I think you're only really on offense as good as your quarterback's going to be. After you get that offensive line squared away, then I think everything takes care of itself.
And I want to quickly ask about that offensive line. Unfortunately, you guys lost Greg Austin. He will be now heading to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Duval.
To Duval County. You bring in Jim Bridge, who you overlapped with at your time in Memphis.
Yeah, we haven't hired anybody yet. So that's all out there on Twitter.
Oh, it's out there?
Nothing been set yet in stone. So we're still interviewing people. So I won't really talk about that. But, Twitter always jumps. You know how that is. So.
All right. Well, I wanted to kind of move on to the offseason, just a recruiting class. you're entering your first off season, kind of where you could feel a little bit more relaxed in terms of where you were at when you first got into FIU, where you had to do the recruitment a little bit rushed. You had to even stay at a dorm on campus.
That was fun.
That
was
was
fun.
legendary.
Yeah.
That is a
I
great
asked my
story.
wife if we could just stay there and live there. It's close quarters. She wasn't going for that. But
Lakeview South, right?
yeah,
Lakeview South.
Yeah, it was good. So, yeah, enjoyed living on campus for about a month or so. It was good.
All right, so I wanted to ask you, what have been the biggest differences from last season's recruitment to this one, and how big of a difference has it been?
Well, of course, we had a full year to prepare for this recruiting class, and I thought it was unique. I actually didn't think that we would sign as many guys as we did in the early signing date, but after we got out there and recruiting was going like it was, so many of the other schools were, just doing all transfer portal at that time. And we felt like we were able to sign some excellent football players and get them signed early, where I thought we would sign a bulk of our high school kids after in the later signing date, but it was opposite. And then we were able to focus in the January period on mainly transfers there in the, January 2nd through the 10th there when school was starting. So, and then we got an excellent signing in Tavius Weaver, big outside linebacker, 6'3", 255, really excellent pass rush. In high school basketball, he had 1,000 rebounds in his career and 1,000 points. That's how good an athlete he is. And he was a young man that just got lost in the shuffle. We kept recruiting, a lot of people recruiting, and people when they had the hurricane and all that type of stuff, it just kind of, and Fort Myers, they weren't able to play some, and different things happened. And we were really excited about getting him on the last signing date.
So looking at the list of recruits right now, the main player that we believe that stands out on the list, and we've seen the reception to his announcement on social media, has been the hometown quarterback, Keon Jenkins. I want you to talk about the recruitment process. What was it like with him, especially noting that you aided his decision to flip from Auburn to stay in the Sunshine State in 305?
Yeah, lights out's a lot of fun to recruit. He's a very personable young man. When you meet him, you'll see. If you've met him yet, you'll know he really does kind of light the room up. He has that type of charisma. He's kind of the young man that never had a bad day. Enjoys life, enjoys people. Leading passer, I believe, in the state of Florida history, yards wise. He won multiple championships there at Central. It's a great leader. Actually was able to go see him practice, and he basically led the whole practice. And the coach is, of course, coach, but he handled the guys. He did calisthenics. He did all the stuff. It was amazing watching his leadership roles. And we're really excited about having Kewan here. And that also, I believe, helped us get a lot of other guys in the city area when they saw he was coming. So kind of a Pied Piper type of young man.
It's worked out dividends for sure. Something I did want to quickly ask, and I know you'll probably have a better answer for this question as the months go by as you prepare for the season. But what do you, just off the top of your head, what do you think his ceiling is, and how soon can we expect Keon to be playing in an actual game like this season?
Well, he's extremely accurate. We saw that in his, when he came to some camps at our place and his high school games and different things. The great thing about it is he's in there now. So he's learning the playbook. He's learning our system. He's working out. He's throwing. He'll have all the spring practice and our winter workouts and all that to prepare. So to give him an opportunity to be able to compete, to try to compete with the starting job. Because when we go into spring practice, everybody's job's open. It's all about competition, and we feel like we've bolstered our competition and ability on our football team. So competition always creates a better football team. So I'm looking forward to all the competition in spring practice.
Coach, we mentioned Keon Jenkins. Now we're talking about Avery Huff, the guy you brought in from the second signing class, I believe, transfer out of the University of Miami. How much of an impact do you think someone like Huff could instantly make now with the departure of Gaithan Bernadelle, who transferred to Stanford?
Yeah, Avery is extremely athletic and really run. He's a big-time recruit. He played in 26 games at Miami and did a lot of different things there for them. Avery's looked good out in our workouts, and I'm excited about watching him in the spring with his athletic ability and ability to run and hit. Should be able to help us a lot, and are excited about him being here and his work ethic. And, he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, which is exciting to see. He wants to prove how good he can be.
And how was the recruiting process like for someone like Huff?
Huff's was interesting. He went in the portal, and we talked to him, and Coach DeWitt talked to him, and he went to some trips to some other schools, and we kind of thought he might not be coming for a minute, and we kept in touch with him, and he came to us the very last Saturday you could be out and go, and went on visited with his mom and family and everybody, and went around, saw it all. He says, "I'm coming here. This is where I'm coming." And he could have had gone, multiple places. And he said, "I want to stay home still. I love what it was all about." And he loved everything we had to offer. And we were really excited that he decided to come here.
Mm-hmm. So, and again, to everybody watching this on our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, we can't thank you guys enough. If you have any questions for Coach Mike, be sure to comment down below. Maybe we'll get by to asking Coach Mike a couple of them. And all right, so we highlighted a couple of the what we believe are some of the top dogs in the class in Keon and Avery. But I got to ask you, Mike, because you know better than anybody, what other players so far stand out to you in this recruiting class that you've seen before, and what was the biggest focus of position when it came to your recruiting class?
Well, I think all of the guys have a great chance of being excellent players for us. There's no doubt we wouldn't recruited them.
Mm-hmm.
But we were, if you saw our class, we're really well-rounded. We hit every single position and worked hard at that, and are excited about what we have there. So I can't pick out a specific guy. I don't want to leave anybody out. If you name some more, I could talk to you about them. But we're excited about all the young men that are coming in, and we signed some young D linemen and some young O linemen that we feel like that are really long and athletic, and get them a little bit bigger and stronger. And I think they'll be exactly what we're looking for, just like we did Nair Jackson last year, Philip Houston, and some other guys. So that they're getting bigger and stronger. JD Lee and those guys that were in last year's class. Hopefully we have a lot of guys like that in this year's.
Well,
Coach, I
Go
wanted
ahead,
to quickly ask you, I believe this is a transfer, Shamari Lawrence. I believe he's also the only running back you guys have officially recruit or brought to FIU so far. If you could talk to us a little bit about him.
Yeah, Shamari Lawrence played at Blanche Ely High School. Then he went to South Dakota before we got here. Big back. He's over 6 foot tall. He's 210 pounds. Played at South Dakota and did an excellent job there. And then went in the transfer portal and really wanted to get back near home. And we were able to get him here. And he'll have 3 years left to play. And so we're excited about his size and athleticism that he brings to the table for us at running back.
And I guess before we move on, from what the class we had last year to this one so far, what have been maybe the biggest differences between each class that you've maybe noticed?
Well, I don't know for sure yet till I get them all on the field and watch them move around. But we're excited about all the guys in the class. And you don't know until you get them out there. They get working, they mature, they move through it. But I felt like in both classes we were able to be well-rounded in getting players, and I like the D lineman and the O lineman that we got in both classes.
Oh, yeah. That's
where you build everything, and we're so much deeper at both of those spots with high school guys that we redshirted last year, and transfers. It's a definite difference, and a definite difference in the look of our team, which is where you make the biggest jump.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. Yeah.
So something I always have been interested about recruiting, Mike, is how do you balance recruits that you're able to find and talk to that come out of South Florida compared to recruits that are either from the transfer portal or you just find in different states across the country?
Say that question again.
How basically what's the process of finding available athletes to join FIU, not just from South Florida, but all over the country?
Well, first of all, we comb Dade and Broward. I mean, just comb it. We go over it over and over and over it. We even have our own Dade and Broward board that's different than the rest of no one know everybody in the at each school. So that's important to us. So we evaluate those guys hard. If there's people that are even, we're going to take Dayton Broward guys. And so that's very important to us, in which we signed a lot of them. I don't know if you saw the billboard we had up of all the Dayton
On the
Broward
turnpike.
kids.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And, we signed 20 young men out of the 27 in this class are from the state of Florida. That's important to us. I'd like to actually get 27 out of 27, but sometimes that doesn't work out. So you're trying to get the next best guy. Basically, when we recruit out of state, they're really connections we have. They're schools that we've recruited before, people we know, and coaches call us about somebody, and we look at them, and if they're better than what we feel like we can get here when we compare, that's what we'll do. It's like the 2 tight ends we got, Brandon Staten from right there outside of Nashville, and then the young man, Rowdy Beers, we got out of Valor. Those were coach connections there. And so those were 2 big 6'5", 235-pound high school tight ends that are athletic and good. And we were really excited about getting them. So that's kind of how that all works.
Is that the best college football player name you've ever heard, Rowdy Beers?
Yes, it is. Rowdy Beers is the best one I've heard. So we hope to put him in number 99, so we have 99 beers on the wall. So that's what we're looking to do.
I love it.
So overall, if you had 2 words to describe the recruiting class, would it be lights out?
Lights out was an extremely big get for us, and we're excited he's here. And the great thing about him is he wanted to be here. This is where he could have gone other places. He wanted to be here in Miami, and so we're excited about him. I think just the overall athleticism and size of our guys is really noticeable, and that's really exciting to us that we were able to do that.
Lights out! Lights out!
I need some context, Mike. Who was flickering the lights?
Dan Frischella was flickering the lights for us, and he did that. Yeah. So we were sitting around saying, okay, we got to do something for this. So I said, let's flicker the lights on and off and start the press conference that way, because nobody really knew he'd signed with us until that day. So that was good.
Kevin, were you at that?
I was not at that. And Eric Henry told us he would not tell us who flickered the lights. So now we know who.
This
who
was
has
the big
flickered the
reveal.
lights.
How about that? This was the reveal.
This is the real.
That's who I
breaking
think.
news.
I think that's who flickered the lights. I might be wrong, but I think that's who did it.
Wow, I can't believe we now have some FIU lore that we
Exactly.
unraveled in this podcast. That was
Right.
super awesome. So that was fun talking about recruiting. Let's move on now to the look ahead, and let's start with the schedule reveal that was, I believe, a few weeks ago.
Right.
A couple episodes back, Kevin and I analyzed the schedule as it dropped. We think it's a pretty good schedule, just off the top of our heads. We'd like to know your thoughts on it as well. What games on that schedule do you think stand out the most that FIU fans should be marking on their calendars right now?
Well, if all 12 of them.
Damn right.
I mean, I'm serious now. All 12 of them are big, and we're excited. The unique thing about this schedule, of course, is all of our midweek games, and then we're starting 0 week at Louisiana Tech. The midweek games is excellent for our conference. We're going to be on national television multiple times this year, more than other Group of 5 conferences. We'll have more. The MAC does it in November. We do it in October, and so it's going to be exciting for us, and we're excited about that package. And there's also more money for our schools.
Oh yeah,
more exposure for our university. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And
how do you feel about midweek Wednesday games? It's definitely very odd.
Right.
But
we'll have the Thursday, Wednesday games. Of course, you'd like to play every Saturday, but with the way the television works, we need to get exposure.
Oh yeah,
and this will give us great exposure, and our kids are going to like it. It's going to help us in recruiting. It's going to help our university. I think it's going to help us on getting more backing and that type of thing, because we're able to put things out there on television more and national television. So it's exciting for us, and they'll see a good product, and our kids will be pumped about it. And I feel like our student body will be too. They'd like to come out to games on Wednesdays and Thursday nights. I know, and so that'll be fun.
Yeah, Coach. Yeah, you had something, Jake, or no?
Oh yeah, the other thing that I actually kind of love, just like looking at the schedule, is that Week 0 game against Louisiana Tech. And
Yep.
just starting off against an opponent that, of course, you know all too well, instead of an opponent that FIU has not played, against the Maine Black Bears. Just do you love the move?
Yeah, I think that's, we got a couple other conference games that 0 week. I think it'll give us a lot of exposure also.
Mhm.
They're an excellent team. Anytime you go to Ruston, Louisiana, which I've been there, it's a really hard place to win.
Mhm.
And it's going to be a hot, humid night, which we're used to, which is good.
Oh, yeah.
So it will be a lot of fun for our players. And that'll be a great way to start the season right out in the conference. And it'll be a big game for us.
Yeah, the last time you played these guys, it was a triple overtime, I believe, thriller where you guys took the win there. So
yeah, that was an exciting, fun game, no doubt about it.
that was one of the best games of the year, Coach.
I think it
Coach,
was as well. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, Coach, I want to know your mindset with the ever evolving Conference USA, with some of the top dogs, UTSA, who won the Conference USA championship, now FAU, who is your rivals up there north. Leaving a new FCS schools, Jacksonville State, Sam Houston joining. How up in the air would you say the conference is? And, especially for a team like you guys to claim, who I would say just have really gotten a lot better from this past season to now, just looking at the team on paper.
Yeah, well, I still think that Western Kentucky will be picked to win our conference. I would imagine they got the great, excellent quarterback back, and all the receivers, and they're a good football team. They kind of stumbled through the years it went along, but early on they were dynamite, and I think they'll be the pick to be the favorite in our league. Jacksonville State and Sam Houston State are excellent, been excellent FCS teams that are moving up, and Jacksonville State's put $70 million into their football facility and stadium, and so they're diving into it hard and fast. So, and then Sam Houston State just remodeled and refurbished, basically tore down their old football facility and built a brand new one. So they're all in about being successful. So it's going to be an excellent conference, and we're excited about playing. Of course, you got Liberty coming in, which is Power 5 facilities, Power 5 money, all the things they have there. That'll be our first conference home game will be against them on a Thursday night, and I'm pretty sure that'll be a nationally televised game, which would be great.
And we will 100% be there. Coach, last one for me. I wanted to ask you, how has it been working with Scott Carr? He brought you in. It's been now almost 2 years. How has it been working with someone like Scott Carr?
It's been awesome. Scott is a phenomenal person. He gets the athletic director spot. He understands coaching. He understands what it takes. He's been exceptional with us, and I think all the other sports. I love working with Scott Carr. Very personable. We're able to communicate really well. Ken Jessel, the new president, has been exceptional. Also, he had kids that were college athletes. He gets it. He understands it. So I believe that's why I keep saying the future's bright. The future is really bright, not only for football, but for 100%. The overall athletic department, and to be able to do something special at FIU. And, it's only, as y'all well know, it's only been there 50 years. They've only been playing football for, I guess this is the 20th year, 21st year coming up. So it's relatively young, and I feel like the future's bright, and we can do a lot of great things here in the future to really help the university and help the athletic program. And Scott Carr is the guy to lead it. There's no doubt about it. And Ken Jessel's the spearheading everything else and doing a phenomenal job.
100%.
I love seeing the photos of you and Scott Carr at the basketball games popping off. Something crazy happens.
Yeah, I love I love basketball. I enjoy watching it, and both our men and women's teams are doing really well right now. And this is a big week for both of them. And we lost that heartbreaker to UAB, and our women had an unbelievable comeback to beat UAB the other night. So it's exciting, and look forward to hopefully they keep everything going. We'll be pulling forward. We'll be going to some games this week for sure, and hopefully they can keep going and have a run in our conference tournament and be able to get into some type of postseason tournament would be phenomenal.
Are you a baseball guy, Mike?
Yeah, I do like baseball too. I guess Coach Witten has his first game starting here
next week.
Next
Friday.
So that'll be, and I think our girls softball opens up
this Friday
or somebody this week. So
yeah,
it's exciting times, no doubt about it. So I enjoy going to those different games, and But I guess my second love behind football is basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Like, people have asked me before, what have you done if you weren't a football coach? I said I would have been a basketball coach.
Really?
So I
love
kind of envy Jeremy out there. Enjoy watching him coach.
Yep.
Just a quick date check for everybody tuning in that wants to get their schedules in order. The baseball team opening day is on Friday, February 17th at 6:30 p.m. against George Mason University. That'll be a 3-game series lasting until the 19th. And the softball team will be beginning their season in 3 days on Thursday against the University of Clemson. In the Felsberg Invitational, they'll take on Clemson, Kansas City, and Georgia State to begin their season as well. So we talked quite a bit about FIU football, and again, it's always a pleasure to talk some football with you, Coach Mike.
Well, thank you. I've really enjoyed it. I appreciate y'all doing this.
So let's just talk about some general stuff about football.
Yep.
And I know you've seen this. A big debate in the NFL right now is the use of artificial turf versus natural grass all across the country. And if I'm not mistaken, the FIU football stadium uses field turf. And, you know, you've prior to FIU, of course, you've been at some places that use natural grass. I believe Colorado was one of them.
Yeah.
If it were up to you, what type of surface would you want your players to be playing on at FIU?
Wow, that's a great question. Every school is different, and what field resources you have, and the way you play them, and the upkeep that it takes. I think, of course, if you can have unbelievable grass, that's you have all the underwater system. You can pump the water. You can, if it rains, you can suck it all out. You can keep it in shape. You don't tear it up. That is the best, and you could that I believe. But the field turf, the way they've done the field turf now, it's excellent. As you keep going, so much better than the stuff I played on. Mine was concrete, and so I definitely think the field turf has come a long, long way, and it's excellent. You can actually wear cleats and go from field, like our practice fields. One's a field turf and one's a grass. We go back and forth across them, so I don't know all the details of all the studies they've done on that. And I imagine there'll be more, but I imagine Field Turf will come out with their studies on it too. Of course, grass is the best. If you can do that, it depends on your facilities and your area. That's what I would, if we had the choice, I'd rather play on grass, but what we have is an excellent field turf though.
Valid. And let's talk about the facilities for a sec. You had a year to play at, well, the signs say Ricardo Silva Stadium, but I don't even think that's the sponsor anymore. They just call it FIU Football Stadium. What do you think about the cage? Just about the student atmosphere and just the overall building itself?
Right, the cage gets loud in there. I tell you.
Oh yeah,
you can really hear it on the field down there. It really does get loud, and every seat in the place is a good seat.
Oh yeah,
they built it up. So every seat's a good seat. I think that's excellent. Our weight room is phenomenal, and we're doing we got plans to do some stuff to our locker room to change out lockers and refurbish it because it's got a good size. So there's a lot of positives there for us, and then the location of it being right on campus and our practice field's right there. All of that is excellent to be able to be successful. So I've been pleased with that, and excited about our playing in the cage, and I can't wait till we get it completely full. You won't even be able to hear yourself think. I think it'll be so loud in there.
That the cage absolutely popped off. I remember how loud it got at right after the last play of the opening game last year against Bryant. That play was wild.
Yeah, it was loud. There's no doubt about it. It was exciting.
All right, so let's. Because why the hell not? The Super Bowl's coming up. Let's talk a bit of NFL.
All right.
Before we do some Super Bowl predictions, from one Coach Mike to another Coach Mike, I got to ask, as a Dolphins fan, have you been keeping up with Mike Daniels' first year with the Dolphins? And if so, what do you think?
Well, I don't get to watch much NFL football. We're working hard. We go to church on Sunday, and then we go to work, and we're getting ready for the next game. But I thought that was excellent, them making the playoffs and everything they did. And, anytime you had all the different situations that I saw quickly on ESPN every once in a while about their quarterback situation always makes it tough because in any team, your quarterback play is beyond critical. In the NFL, it's really what matters because everybody else is basically even, and it's how good that guy can play and how healthy they can stay. And, and so I think that that's a key thing. If they can keep those guys healthy, I think they would have probably gone a little bit farther in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Oh,
Coach,
yeah,
I think we have to ask you here: Chiefs versus Eagles. Who's your pick? Jalen Hurts versus Patrick Mahomes.
I'm going to take the politically correct answer on this because I have friends that coach at both places and team players that play at both places and that I've known and coached. So, but I think it's going to be a heck of a game. It's exciting. Both those stories of those two quarterbacks are amazing, and you can't help but want to pull for both of them. So it'll be an exciting game. In Phoenix, so they play in the toaster there, right?
In Glendale, right? Yeah,
exactly.
By the way, have you been in contact at all with T.Y. Hilton, who made the switch over to Dallas and put up some pretty solid numbers for the few games he played there?
Anthony Gator talks to T.Y. and knows him well, of course, and so we've been and hopefully when he'll come by and see us in this off season, and we're excited about to getting with him for sure. Jonnu Smith came to a basketball game the other night.
Yeah.
I think he told me he had another year of eligibility, so he's going to transfer back with an NIL from the NFL to us. So we'll get him.
I love it.
You're kidding me, Coach. Just come on, Coach. Oh my God.
We're gonna put the making unfair competition here for other teams.
No, what a great guy, and he loves FIU, and so we're excited about all the former players getting involved. They're invited. They can come to any practice they want. They can come around anytime they want. We love having them around.
And that's kind of where, before we wrap up, how big is it to have these alumni come back and show their support for FIU? Because we saw Jonathan Cyprin, who's been doing a lot of some work up there with AJ Ricketts. You see T.Y. Hilton, who showed up, Jonnu Smith, who's not, although the football season ended, he's still showing his support for FIU and wanted to go watch some basketball.
Yeah, it's great having them. SIP is doing an unbelievable job supporting our athletic department and being spearheading and doing the inside the cage that he's doing, trying to give back to the university. It's awesome. And all of the guys that come back around, we love them coming back around, want them back around even more often than they are, and hopefully we'll keep getting those guys to come around.
Coach, one last thing from me. Yeah. I'm a big nerd when it comes to uniforms, and when you show up to FIU, what do you know? They dropped some pretty, in my opinion, really cool looking uniforms. Just what did you think about all the combinations the team had for their first year wearing them?
Yeah, we love the combinations. I love being part of that. And each week, Ricky Walterman and I sit down, our equipment manager, and figure out different ways to talk to the players about it. And we'll be dropping some other uniforms this year too. So we're going to have some more. And
you have any any sneak peeks for us?
No sneak peeks yet, but we're going to have some new uniforms too, along with what we have. And then hopefully we'll have some other decal things that we're doing and some other things to our helmets. So we want to make it every week. We want it to explode out there with some type of different look in our uniform, some type of different thing on our helmets. And so the kids love it. I think it's awesome for our program, and I'm excited about us being able to do that. And that's something Scott Carr believes in also with the field and our uniforms and all that. It's a big part of our, marketing tool to get us out there more and more. And, of course, the high school and college kids love having those different uniforms.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Will we be seeing some new looks on the field? We saw the Vice look, which took national attention, and it was on ESPN. Will we be seeing some new looks on the field?
Yeah, we'll have a new look every game.
Okay.
Nice.
So our field crews are working on it now, different ideas to go with, and so is Scott and Dan and all the guys there. So we will definitely keep that going, and that's something we want to be part of our FIU tradition.
I love it.
All right, Coach, we hit the 40-minute mark. Again, thank you so much for your time just chatting with us today about some FIU football. We can't thank you enough. And before you go, do you have anything you'd like to say to the fans watching about what to expect this season?
Well, be excited for us coming out to our spring showcase on April 22nd. Put that down on your calendar, April 22nd, spring showcase. And then please buy season tickets. That's what I'm asking you to do. Please buy season tickets. And our football team is getting better and better and better. And we're excited about the future. The future's bright.
Amen. We can't thank you enough, Mike. And to everybody who watched us again on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, we can't thank you guys enough. We're 10 episodes in, and I promise our next 10 episodes, we're just going to keep getting better and better and better. But for Kevin and I and Mike, we can't thank you guys enough. And until next time, paws up.
Paws up.
Paws up.